Welcome back to another episode of Eagle versus Kiwi podcast, a show about living in America from the perspective of a New Zealander. We are back with another episode. Another one. So last week we talked about, well, in the last episode anyway, we talked about, what did we talk about? The questions that I get asked the most, and I thought I would elaborate on one of them, and it was kind of broad. It was more of the what's it like a comparative to New Zealand to America. And honestly, the differences are just so massive that you can't really answer it in just one little sentence or anything. So I thought I'd elaborate on one being what I grew up with. So here in America, we didn't get a lot of, in New Zealand anyway, we didn't get a lot of kid-specific things in New Zealand. So we kind of had kid-specific things in New Zealand, so like TV shows, toys, like play, like just little bits and pieces. And I was actually thinking about this yesterday. I was like, well, there is one thing that kind of sets us apart, and it's most of our like songs, like school songs, like songs that I learned in school, and of course our national anthem is different, but we've got two versions of our national anthem, the English version and the Māori version. If you don't know what Māori is, look it up. So I thought I would play some of these iconic kid songs that I grew up with, and a little funny commercial that I still think is pretty funny. It's a play on Australians versus New Zealanders in the most nicest way possible. So the first one, so this song is legit. Like, this is a song that I sang in primary school. And when I say sang, you sing your school songs. So this is one that I sang as a class. See if I can play it real quick. Give me a second.
Oh, yeah. Yum! Fish and chips. I like green bananas and pink ice cream. Wobbly jelly makes me scream. Mum's hamburgers are pretty cool, but I like fish and chips best of all. Fish and chips, yeah, fish and chips make me want to lick my lips. Eat them for breakfast, lunch and tea. Fish and chips are for me.
Now that is basically the whole premise of the song, but yeah, it's a song that I grew up with, fish and chips. It's a song about fish and chips, and our food in New Zealand is great, but fish and chips is always number one. And that's probably the most hardest thing to find. Okay, this is another gripe that I have. Fish and chips is definitely the hardest thing to find here in America. Obviously, it's not normal to kind of have. But when you do find it, it's the most artisanal thing you can ever have. Like, it's just so fucking fancy. Like, no joke. If you're a New Zealander and you're listening to this, bro, you can't just get fish and chips. You have to get fish battered in this nice little beer batter with the chips that are handcrafted. Like, it's so painful. Like, in New Zealand, for you Americans that are listening, in New Zealand, you just get... So, when I was a kid, this is how you order fish and chip. You go into the fucking store, you go, can I have, depending, can I have 2 fish and $2 worth of chips, or 2 scoops of chips, you know what I mean? And they'd weigh it up, like, oh yeah, cool, sweet. They put the order in, and then they'll get newspaper out, because that's how you fucking have it. Or like tracing paper. Get the fish and chips out, you put tracing paper down on top of that, so the ink doesn't get into the chips. Then you put your 2 fish, your 2 scoops of chips on the tracing paper, and you wrap it up, and that's it. That's your fish and chips. No joke, when I was a kid, I would get $2 worth of chips, and they'd wrap it up for me nice, and I'd like rip a little hole on top of the on top of the package, so I could kind of just put my finger in it and get a chip. It ruled, man. But you can't find it here. So fish and chips is a staple, a figure staple in New Zealand. But in America, it's what's a staple? McDonald's, Burger King, what else? Denny's. You know, there's like meat pies. Americans, even New Zealanders, bro. I lived in Portland, Oregon, right? And they had a place there called I have to fucking pies in Portland PDX. It was called what was it called? No, not the Pie Stop. Pacific Pies. That's it. It was called Pacific Pies, and the company was owned by an Australian. So right off the gate, I knew it was going to be a great one because you can't fuck up a pie. But I'm going to try to find the fucking prices of it. You have to pay an arm and a leg to get the damn thing. Let's have a look. Okay, bringing it up. Give me a second. Yeah. Oh, see. Okay. So sausage rolls. All right. Sausage rolls cost about $3 in New Zealand. Maybe tip it onto the scales of $4. Mini. This is a mini sausage rolls. A half dozen. Oh, a half dozen. Okay, then that's not bad. I'll take that bet. It was $7.95, which I still think is pretty fucking bonkers. Where are you at? Entrees, okay. Yeah, okay, here we go. Greens out. No, fuck. Pies. Okay, here we go. Here we fucking go. Alright, so, steak and cheese pie. You get a steak and cheese pie in New Zealand, be about $4 or $5, give or take. The Big Bens are going to be like $6. Bro, a Kiwi favorite, tender beef and a savory onion gravy with Tillamook cheddar. This is what they sell in Portland. This is $11.95. I shit you not. $11.95. No joke. Beef and mushroom pie, $11.95. Classic chicken pie, which is one of my favorites. I love chicken pie, $11.95. And then they've got the classic sausage roll. This is $9.25. Just absolutely ridiculous. I don't want to pay that much, especially for something that it doesn't take that long to make. But it's the product that's inside the pastry. It's the meat that's inside that makes it so specific, that makes it so artisanal, that requires that much money. I'm not a fan of that, and I gave in. I was a sucker for it because I wanted things that reminded me of home. So pies were the thing that I would go to. Beef pies, meat pies, sausage, steak and cheese, mince and cheese, chicken pies. They were my favorite. They didn't have bacon and egg, which sucked. Potato top pies, which is called shepherd's pie here in America. But yeah, it just blew my mind. Okay, the next song. Okay, this is the next song that I legit grew up with, and I still sing this song. I was actually singing this to my dog yesterday. Okay, here we go. I'll see if I can fade this in. Okay, it's a safety video message from McDonald's that I would always grow up with every Sunday, like in the mornings or something like that, every Sunday before they, during the commercial breaks when the kids' cartoons are on. Let's see, all right, here we go.
Kids, you must remember every time you're in the car.
And it makes no difference if you're going near or far.
If you're in the front seat or if you're in the back, click goes your seat belt before you hit the track.
Click goes your seat belt, click, click, click.
When you take a ride, you got to belt up quick. Tell all your friends and your family that's the trick.
Click goes your seat belt, click, click, click.
So at that time, that was a song. Make it click from New Zealand Police, Land Transport Safety. So the deal is, if you're under 5, you have to have your seatbelt on. If you don't have your seatbelt on in the car, then you get charged, even if you are in the back seat. That's the deal. We've got a lot of strict laws in New Zealand, but I like it. You know, it keeps us all accountable. Like the speed limits, and we'll talk about this in another podcast, but the speed limits are like 100k, which is 60 miles per hour. If you're going by American standards, it's 100 in New Zealand. So if you get caught going one over, you're done's. In New Zealand, if you get caught going one over, you're getting a ticket if you get caught. But here in America, so the speed limit is 60. People do 80 on the road, which is like a near 140 k's an hour, I think, in New Zealand. By New Zealand standards, I think that's around 80. Pretty sure, thinking about it now. But yeah, it just there's the song that I grew up with. You know, tell all your friends and your family that's the trick. Click goes your seatbelt. Click, click, click. But the thing is, Mum didn't have a car. We didn't have a car when I was growing up, so it was like just a fun little song. Mum didn't have a driver's license, and I didn't have my driver's license until like early 20s, because I had my aspirations and dreams were just to stay in Wanganui. I wasn't going to leave Wanganui until I met Megan. Like, no joke. Oh well. I was planning to move to Australia to keep fighting in Muay Thai. But before that, the dream was to stay in Wanganui, like forever. No joke. In my population, Wanganui population is not that big. Let's have a look. Wikipedia. Wikipedia is always a solid source of information. Wanganui. I know the population has grown, well, diminishing, depending. It is population as of last year 43,000. I think that's about right. Dang it has grown. No, that can't be right. Because last year, a couple of years ago, it was 15. Who gives a fuck? I don't care. But yeah, that was a dream. Stay in Wanganui, never move. Now I'm living in America, which is bizarre, which is crazy. But the good type of crazy, you know what I mean? Okay, this next one. This was actually a TV show that was very, very famous in New Zealand. It still is very famous in New Zealand. It's called Shortland Street. This was the theme song that I grew up with in the 90's. In the 90's, and I remember watching this as a kid. It was pretty raunchy for its time, and it still is raunchy today, but yeah. It was a soap opera that was on every day at 6 or 7 o'clock, I think. I can't quite remember. But this is it here.
Is it you or is it me? Lately I've been lost at sea. I think a change is what I need.
If I'm looking for a chance, call a dream, Shortland Street.
Taking time to hold my place. Yesterday's another waste. Just living for the times we've seen. When the writing on the wall.
It's tragic. Like, legit tragic song. And that saxophone. That saxophone is on point. If I'm looking for a chance, call the dream. Oh, they had an album as well. Track 1, Shortland Street theme. Track 2, Shortland Street, the club mix. Let's see if it's on here.
Shortland Street.
Oh, this is when it was on vinyl. That's actually ridiculous that they had an EP, or not even an EP, or extended play. Oh, and I grew up with this song too, Home and Away.
It's time to save the world.
Oh, fucking commercials, bro. They'll get you. Home and Away. Oh, 2000 version. This is when I was watching it actively. Let me try to get this up. So Home and Away is an Australian show. It's kind of like Neighbours. Oh, wait, sorry guys. Don't let me go to stay forever. Oh man, that song takes me back. And you guys have no fucking clue what I'm talking about, but I don't give a shit.
Right now, though, it's time to head to Summer Bay, where Sean is.
Yeah, but don't you feel better for it? Yeah, I guess.
I used to watch this all the time. Like, no joke. Watch it all the time. I was obsessed with this show. Oh, Tammin Surstock. She was a babe. Tammin, what's she up to these days? Surstock. Yeah, that was the days, bro. That was the days. Yeah, I used to watch that all the time. But, you know, good old thousands when I was still living in New Zealand. But those were shows that I grew up with, you know, and it's so vastly different to America. Even the theme songs, I mean, you fucking heard it. You're just so different compared to America. America there, I mean, the thing that jumps in my head is like Seinfeld, I think. Yeah. I mean, we got that in New Zealand, but I didn't watch it. It was a little over my head. Like sophisticated comedy that I didn't get, just like Frasier. But a lot of people ask what I they'll ask me about TV shows like The Real World on MTV. So first of all, I didn't grow up, you know, very rich. Okay, there was only 3 channels in New Zealand when I was growing up, and they were legit called 1, 2, and 3, right? And if they weren't on 1, 2, and 3, which is free-to-air TV, which everyone watched, which everyone had, you know, most of the popular TV shows were on 1, 2, and 3. If nothing was on, so a show breakdown, 1 was considered the adult station, like, you know, news and, you know, like what grown-ups would watch. 2 would be like the kids/teen channel, and so would 3. But it was a mix of adult/preteen/teen/ you know, going on to adulthood. 3 was like what Home and Away was on. Shortland Street was on Channel 2. But if nothing else was on that, then I didn't know about it. So when people talked about The Real World and how it was a cool show on MTV, I didn't have MTV. So I didn't know anything about that. The Hills, didn't know anything about that. But that was on Sky. So Sky was considered like cable, what cable is here, like Time Warner cable, all that kind of shit. But I didn't have cable. I was too poor to have cable. But at that point, Channel 4 came along. And it was legit called Channel 4. And then there'll be Prime and everything like that. All right, but Prime was an Australian TV channel that was kind of like an old people TV show, like game shows and all that kind of shit. But Game of Thrones was on Prime. But I didn't watch it because I was like, that's where old people watch. I don't want to watch Game of Thrones. And now, years and years later, I'm watching Game of Thrones, and it's so funny looking back now. But yeah, if it wasn't on that, I didn't know about it. I knew about Laguna Beach. I knew about the hills, but I didn't watch it, and I didn't know the premise of it. So when people would say it, I'm like, oh, okay. I only remember like reality TV shows like The Bachelor, Survivor, Temptation Island. Nothing else apart from that. Like nothing else. Didn't know anything. So when Americans talk to me about it, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's like a reality TV show. You get these teens in a house. So I'm like, oh, so it's like Big Brother. You know, Big Brother, you get a whole bunch of adults in this one house and they are forced to live together. It's like, yeah, but it's teens, so all this random shit would happen. I'm like, okay, so it's exactly like Big Brother, but the adult version of it. So yeah, those are TV shows or kids songs that I kind of grew up with. This is another commercial ad that I didn't grow up with. It was actually my adult years, but I thought it was just too fucking funny to not play.
What are you doing this weekend?
So the premise is there are two kids in the playground. They're talking. They're New Zealanders, and they're talking. And then they ask Jonesy, who's an Australian. Oh, sorry, the two New Zealand kids. They're talking about doing a job, building a retaining wall. And one of the New Zealand boys is like, "Oh, I don't know. It's going to be a heavy job." And they're just talking about that. And then they ask an Australian, who his name is Jonesy. And then they ask him for help, and Jonesy's like, nah, fuck that. Well, he doesn't say that, but he's like, I don't want to do that. And then they'll look at each other, the New Zealand boys, and go, bloody Aussies, Australians. So reason why I kind of explained that really quickly before playing the actual ad was because there is that nice, friendly rivalry between New Zealand and Australia, and we know that. Like, we know that. Okay, here, I'll play it now.
Putting up a retaining wall. Do it yourself? No, I'm going to get some broken. Oh, come on, mate, do it yourself. She's a pretty big job. You'll be right. You reckon? We can knock it over in half a day. Yeah, get a couple mates around. Hey, Jonesy! Huh? Give us a hammer for job Saturday. Mate, you're dreaming. Aussies. Oh, no surprises there.
DIY. It's in our DNA.
Yep, DIY, mate. It's in our fucking DNA. I'll tell you that much, mate. It's in our DNA. Yeah, absolute craziness. Sorry, I'm looking at this Tammin Surstock. Such a freaking babe. What she's been doing after Home and Away. She was in Pretty Little Liars. Bro, she was such a babe. She came out with her own song, I remember, because everyone was doing it at that point. Like all these Australian soap fucking stars, they came out with songs. So crazy. I'm not going to play any, though, because I might get in trouble. Oh, Rebecca Cartwright. Remember Rebecca Cartwright? Oh, man, I'm fucking going to do a deep dive real quick. Anyway, yeah. That was the shit that I grew up with, and, it's just so vastly different. And I remember one time I was in Pittsburgh, and someone looked at me and said, do you get Justin Bieber music in New Zealand? Like, we're not that disconnected from, America. We're not disconnected from America. If anything, I don't think a lot of Americans know that people want to be like America, but because Americans know that, or some Americans know that, and they rub it in foreigners' faces, they hate Americans. And I'm not exaggerating that either. In New Zealand, there is this stigma that America or Americans are considered like fucking trash. Like, they're ungrateful, they're a bunch of crybabies, I'm not joking, I'm not exaggerating it either. You can ask any New Zealander, and they'll probably give you a really safe, sugar-coated answer. They'll probably be like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's a great place, but that's them not telling you the truth and saying, no, you guys are a bunch of fucking idiots. And now, because of Donald Trump being your president, Makes it more funnier. But I'll talk about that on another podcast. But yeah, we're not that disconnected from America. We get, like, McDonald's is an American company. We got it. KFC, American company. We got it. Burger King, we've got it. You know, Shell, we've got it. BP, we've got it. You know what I mean? There are New Zealand-specific grocery stores like Pack and Save, New World, Countdown. What's another one? There's a third one. No, Right Price is old. That's shut down. But yeah, that's New Zealand specific. But nothing is like Walmart in New Zealand. If anything, it's kind of like the Warehouse in New Zealand. For those of you who are listening, like Walmart is kind of like the Warehouse, and the Warehouse is kind of like Walmart. But Warehouse, everyone goes there, right? Everyone, no matter what your income demographic is, everyone goes to the Warehouse. Walmart, a certain money demographic, like income demographic, goes to Walmart. A certain demographic goes there. I go there, but I definitely know that I make more money. But you can't fuck with the deals that they've got going on. But it's the people that go to Walmart are like kind of scummy. They're kind of scummy, but that's okay. You know what I mean? They don't think that they are, but yeah, that's okay. You don't have to agree with me. I know, of course, you're not going to think you're scummy, but I think you are, and that's okay. And that's the kind of things that we talk about on Kiwi vs. Eagle podcast. Okay, this podcast has already gone too fucking long. It's like 26 minutes, and I'm already unhappy with that. But again, thank you very much for listening to the Kiwi vs. Eagle podcast. I know this was a bit of a ramble, but I want to keep these podcasts long. I don't want these to be like an hour long. So I appreciate you listening, hitting the play button or hitting the download button. Look, remember to subscribe to this podcast on Podbean, because we're still trying to get it up on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, all that kind of shit. Because iTunes is a bit of a fucking cunt, and you need a certain, like, artwork size or pixelation fucking density. I don't give a shit. Anyway, hit the subscribe button if you follow us on, so you can follow us on Podbean. Hit that download button. Review the show, what you think about it in the comments below, and rate this show, what you think about it. Give it a 5-star, and share it with your friends, please. I want as many Americans to know about the show, and I want as many New Zealanders to know about the show, because I want more Americans to know about it. Because here's the thing. Everyone tells me that New Zealand is on their bucket list and they want to know more about it. I sugarcoat my answer because I'm usually at work. This is 100% what I think and my perspective of what living in America is like, and the differences between here and New Zealand. Okay? So share it with your American friends. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. I don't fuck with Snapchat, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, thank you for listening. Stay tuned for the other one. And yeah, goodbye.